So welcome everyone. I want to welcome Dr. Edwards tonight. Dr. Edwards is a security expert, an author, a 22-year military veteran with experience across technology, finance, and government sectors. He teaches graduate cybersecurity, mentors professionals, and has written over a dozen books. Through his website, baremetalcyber.com, his content reaches 2 million people yearly via articles, podcasts, and safety tips. So thank you so much, Dr. Edwards, for joining us, and the show is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate it. What I want to talk to you guys tonight about, and here's one of the important things I always do. So I believe in like cyber evangelism, if you want to call it that, where I always tell students, you're never going to get a family member that's going to walk up to you and go, "Hey, can you tell me about the CLOP ransomware group that's been happening right now?" Like, no, it's never going to happen, right? They're going to, "Hey, can you tell me about APT 31 or whatever the name of the group is?" Like, no, it's no one in your family is ever going to ask you that question. What they're going to ask you questions about, and what your friends will always ask you questions about, right, is, what do I do about ransomware? What about the text messages I get? How do I know if my computer has a virus, right? What do I do if my computer does have a virus, or how do I prevent a virus, right? You're going to get all of the regular cybersecurity questions that, in a lot of cases in schools, we don't teach you, right? Though, like, for example, in a bachelor's and a graduate course, like, there's no real teaching on like the geek squad kind of stuff that you have to do out there. But as a person, those are the questions, as a cybersecurity professional, that's the questions you're going to get all the time from everybody who's not cyber or tech, right? And a lot of times from it. So I started this presentation about 3 years ago at a conference, and it's funny, the conference was on AI. And so they're like, "What do you want to present on?" I'm like, "Well, not AI. Like, everybody's presenting on AI. I'll do cyber safety." And so, believe it or not, mine sold out. Like, mine was full. It was like 80 people in my auditorium when I did it. And I was like, wow. And it's because even cybersecurity and technology people, like, there's things we can learn. And every time I teach this, I guarantee you there's going to be things that you're going to learn that not only is going to affect your life, right, but that you can share with other people as time goes on, right? So, to give you a great example, about 6 months ago, I'm in an Uber, and the Uber driver, he's telling me about how he had his identity stolen, and I'm like, "Well, here's what you need to do: this, and this, and it'll never happen again." Right? Very simple stuff you can do that'll take care of a lot of these problems that we don't know, and then you can share them with other people, right? And as you share knowledge, of course, you build your reputation, your brand as we go through it. So, I'm also going to include both this deck and a one pager in the chat if you guys want to download it. Um, Anybody who's just watching and not participating, let me know. I can always provide that. We can share it out. So, and as we go through this is interactive. We have time, ask questions. I'm more than happy to, and you can either ask them a couple different ways, right? You can send me a private message, you can send them to me in the chat, or you can just raise your hand and I'll call on you as we go through it. So glad to help. Okay, let's get started. Um, This all Every time Zoom does this, I always rearranges my screen. I'm like grabbing stuff from over there, putting it on. Otherwise, I'm doing the tennis face as we're doing this the whole time. So, um, all right. So, kind of talked about this a little bit as we go through it. What we're going to happen tonight. I'm actually going to, at the very end of this, we're going to have a Kahoot. So there's 4 of you in the Kahoot blood match that's going to happen here. All right, death match or whatever we want to call it. And the winners are going to get cool little trophies. So, and a book as we go through it. So, again, you're going to have to learn because, again, a Kahoot is, you got to be fast, right? But you got to be right. So we're going to do that. And then I gave you some takeaways and stuff like that. So, this is what I call my gratuitous plug, right? If you remember, was it Wayne's World, right? Gratuitous product plug or whatever. So I'll leave this on the screen, but like she mentioned, Bare Metal Cyber, if you're in technology or whatever, all of this is free that you can get to, right? I've been doing it for years, just providing educational stuff through LinkedIn and other places. So more than happy to. This is my passion project though for kids. So I have 2 books for 4 to 9 year olds that want to do it. And I based it on my service dog who passed away 2 years ago. So he has like a little, and by the way, this adventure is way better than Tron Ares, although I'm not going to go into why that movie disappointed me, but this is way better. So if you ever get a chance, you want to see it, there's a neat little $5 kids book out there that you can give away as well called Darwin the Cyber Beagle. Oops, I accidentally clicked it instead of next slide. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about is that if you're learning how to drive, When is the best time to learn what happens in an accident? Is it when the accident happens, or is it during the driver's training, or when your mom or your dad's teaching you? Or in my case, my four children, I've had to teach driver's training too, right? It's always better to do it ahead. When do you want to learn how to get out of a burning building? Is it when the building's on fire, or is it during the safety drills that the company or your house that you're going to have in advance, right? We always want to make sure that if there's a serious situation in our life, that we've planned ahead, right? Whether, oh, the emergency exits are located over the wing, right? Or all the little different things that we do, but we do it in advance. And so when it comes to cybersecurity, there are things that you can do personally to help, secure yourself and to prevent all of these bad and worse things that can happen on later. Like, for example, identity theft and stealing of your bank account and all this other stuff that can happen, or viruses on your computer. Plan ahead. One thing I always like to tell people too, and this is just something that CISOs say, is that it's always going to happen to you. I've been scammed, right? We about a year ago, I ended up getting a puppy, and we went on this group, and it was a Schnauzer group in Houston, 1,000 people in this group, and we went there to look for a dog. We found a dog, we found a breeder, a $400 deposit. It was fake. The entire group of 1,000 people was fake on Facebook. They had co-opted other people's accounts, deceased people's accounts. They had created the group. They had created fake accounts to answer people and to give each. I mean, it was a funnel set up to get as many people as they could in that group, right? And of course, what was the lead? Well, it was a purebred dog, and it was cheaper, and all these other kind of things, right? So it's going to happen to you no matter how good you are. Um, I like to talk about this times too, especially in a lot of ways that, for example, how we secure our networks. When we secure our networks, we compartmentalize them like a ship. Ships are always going to sink if they get water in them, and ships will always get water in them no matter what they are, right? They are actually made to let that happen. And if there's a problem, they can compartmentalize the ship so it'll stay afloat. We do that with our networks too. We compartmentalize our networks so that if someone does click on a ransom or a phishing email, right, a ransomware virus or whatever, that it only affects a small part of the network, not the whole company's network. So I'm going to teach you how to do that with your life as well, right? You need to compartmentalize some of the things that you do so that way it doesn't spill out into the others. So we're going to talk about checking accounts. We're going to talk about credit cards. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff as we go through this. One thing I want you to say too is that when it happens, it is okay to phone a friend, no matter who you are, right? It is okay to be calm. Always be calm, right? No matter what happens on the computer, unless you're somehow in the middle of the War Games movie and you're launching the nukes, everything's going to be fine, right? Everything's going to be fine. Even if you get hacked, you lose your computer, you get a virus, it's horrible, but it's going to be fine, right? It's not the end of the world. So calm down, take a breath, come back, and then deal with it, right? I think and again, when you get like a phishing email, when you get the other kind of things, right? They are trying to, on purpose, elicit an emotional response from you so that you'll act then, right? You won't think about it. First responders, military, we spend most of our lives learning how to act under pressure so that we don't make bad decisions when adrenaline is flooding our system. Most people don't have that kind of experience yet, right? So when something bad happens, you're going to make bad decision after bad decision. One day I got an email, and it was from Amazon. It said I bought a Rolex. And it was funny. I looked at it, I was like, it was a really well crafted email, by the way. It was really good. I looked at it, I was like, oh my God. And then I saw the price. I'm like, yeah, I don't have any credit cards for that kind of money. Like, it was the one thing I was like, if they would have went for like 500 bucks, they might have got me to respond. But like, the $12,000 Rolex, like, nah, it's not on my credit card, buddy. I don't hear you were good. So, but they can do it. They can be very good at these kind of things. And they're going to get you, they're going to get your family, they're going to get somebody else, right? And at the end of the day, too, once you're secure, and you know what you're doing, you can be that the phone a friend person for everybody else, and your friends and your family, right? They can call you. Hey, by the way, did you get this? I get this all the time from my sisters and family. Like, hey, is this legit? I'm like, nope. And like, can the police do this on here? I'm like, nope, the police don't come after you on text messages. Like, I'm pretty sure we haven't evolved to that state yet. But like, and again, especially with things like fake voices, fake video, stuff like this, it's going to happen, and you're going to have to be prepared. So the very first thing I tell everybody to do, and this is something all people need to do, is freeze your credit. If you freeze your credit, it is impossible for people to open credit in your name, which prevents them from wanting your identity. The one major thing about identity theft is that they take your identity, they immediately open credit cards and other lines of credit, and then you spend years in some cases trying to undo that damage. If you freeze your credit, it is impossible for them to do so. even if they steal all your information. They would have to get the credit company to unfreeze your credit, which requires some other stuff to go through it. There's also a couple other advantages to freezing your credit. One is that you no longer get pre approved credit offers in the mail. Yeah, I'm just going to say that. That is an amazing, awesome thing. You still get the dear resident, would you like a credit card, right? Every once in a while, but the credit card company, I mean, so the CRAs, they cannot sell your credit score anymore. Once it's, and that's based on the law. The other thing is that when you freeze your credit, which by the way, nobody needs their credit most days of the week, right? Maybe a couple times a year you might need your credit. So most of the time you don't need it. The problem is unless you're checking your credit all the time, identity theft can happen and you won't know. So a good friend of mine in Amazon, he's another security engineer up there. He got a call one day about setting up his account to pay for his boat. And he's like, I don't have a boat. And ended up the bank, someone had went to a bank, used his identity and his information and bought a boat. Now, what was great about the whole thing is he had froze his credit. So the bank couldn't do anything to him. They had to walk away. The bank couldn't get him involved in the identity theft. The bank owned everything at that point because there was no way the bank should have ever opened credit without being able to see his credit report. How do you freeze your credit? Right. So what you do is you go to each of the three credit reporting agencies' website and you can log in and do it there. Or you can just call them, which is the easiest way to do it. I would just call them, call the three credit reporting agency. Hey, I want to freeze my credit. Now, if you do it online, they will try to sell you their stuff, which is horribly annoying to me. Why some company who has my stuff thinks I should pay them to secure my stuff. So I figure that can be part of the service, right? So be very careful that they don't try to trick you into buying their credit monitoring. You don't need it. If you freeze your credit, you don't need credit monitoring because nothing can happen to your credit. Now, if you do it online, right, and you create an account, you go through all that. We're going to talk about passwords here in a little bit, but you need to secure that password too. And we'll talk about that as we go through it. Now, if you do need to use your credit, you don't actually have to unfreeze it. You can do what's called a thaw. So we were looking to buy a car a couple months ago, right? I knew they were, I went to the dealership. Okay, now you're going to run my credit. I called all three of the agencies, thawed my credit for 48 hours, which means that after 48 hours, it just automatically went back to being frozen. So I went to the car dealership. You got 48 hours to run my credit, right? And after that, I didn't even have to do anything. I didn't have to call them back and I do anything. It just goes right back to it. These are all free services that the CRAs are required by law to provide to you. Okay, as well as getting your annual security report, your annual credit report that's on there. But it also, and again, it's going to give you some extra privacy, and it does not hurt your credit at all. But it's a number one thing you can do. It's why I put it as the very first slide. It's the number one thing you can do. So another thing we can do is we talk about is our financial accounts. So good friend of mine, this is about 15 years ago, we're in the military. He woke up one morning and all of his money was gone to eBay India, of all places. And it was a draft, not a credit card, it was a draft. And so what does that mean? Not only do you lose all your money, now they have to change your entire checking account. Not just your credit card number, your actual checking account, which means the paychecks aren't going to make it there, right? All the other stuff you have set up on that checking account isn't going to make it there. And believe it or not, most of us, and even I at that time, used one account for everything, right? I had my one account, the paycheck came in there. We used the debit cards. Me and my wife had a debit card in the same account. The bills came out of it. We knew, we managed how the money, stuff like that. Now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, it's so horrible I did it that way. But again, let's go back to that previous statement of where I talked about compartmentalizing, right? If you lose the one account that you have, and most of you right now, you don't have to raise your hands, but I'm sure most people in here only have one checking account, right? And I don't include that, by the way, that free savings account that you always get, right? I mean, like, and you've got a savings account, which you'll always maintain like $5 in there and never change. I mean, like your actual checking account. Uh, if something happens to that, you lose everything. And it's not just that, but you can lose paychecks. And here's the other thing: depending on your bank, the bank doesn't have to give you the money back. Now, here's the deal with credit cards and debit cards. Credit cards, by law, are protected against transaction fraud. You can dispute a transaction. The bank has 24 to 48 hours to put the money back in your account when they do the investigation on it, right? If it's a credit card transaction, if you go to Walmart, you go to the gas station, and it asks you for your PIN, you don't get that protection anymore when you use that transaction. So you can, and again, they want you to use debit first, and they'll push you to use debit first in most cases because the vendor doesn't want to pay the higher credit card fee that costs to process it. But if you don't use your card as a credit card, you don't get the automatic protection under the law. you get whatever the bank is going to offer you. Now, some banks, for example, okay, let's say you wake up tomorrow morning, your paycheck's gone. You call the bank, I've been defrauded. What's the bank going to do at that point? My bank put the money back in there that morning, right? They would put the money back in there that morning. It's just the bank I have. Some banks will do that. Some banks will not. Some banks will make you wait 2 weeks until they finish the investigation to make a determination of whether or not you should get your money back. And in some cases, if it's not on the bank, they have no legal requirement to give you any money back at all. They don't. It's up to the bank, right? So one thing I always tell people too is that switch banks, right? Switch banks. I don't care if your car loan is there or not. You can transfer money. Like an account with a credit union for a car, right? Every month I just transfer the money over there and it makes the payment. I don't use their checking account because I don't like their services, right? But I did like the fact they gave me a really low interest rate on a car. So be mobile. You can move around. Just because you have a loan someplace doesn't mean you have to keep your money there. Go to the best offer out there, the ones with the best protection. Now, let's talk about this one account and the way I do it. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You can do it more, you can do it less, but I do it a little bit differently. So, yes, I have this many accounts at least. And on your bank account, you should be allowed to create as many checking accounts as you want for free. If not, again, see my previous statement about finding a new bank. My bank lets me create as many as I want. I can have as many as I want on here. I'm not going to create that many because once I explain this to you, it'll make sense. But like, I don't want to get accused of like money laundering or something. Like, I don't want to be moving accounts for like, McDonald's or whatever. So let's start from the bottom. Yeah. So I split one account into five. And this is the way I explain. Once I explain this to you, not only is it going to be easy to budget every month, you're going to have such an easier time when it comes to that. It's also less stress. You're not going to worry about your card getting stolen because you put gas in it out there and there was a skimmer. The first account you want is a checking account for just your incoming paychecks, right? Whatever you get your money from, this account is the only reason this account exists. And there's no credit card attached to it. None. So that way, the odds of this account ever being compromised is exceedingly low. You don't use it for bill pay, you don't use it for anything, and you definitely don't have a credit card attached to it. But the reason you have this one anchor account here is that no matter what happens with your other accounts, you're still going to get paid, right? You still got to have money coming in, and that guarantees it. When he lost his account that day, again, there he had to go through all of the things about changing his, like, especially with the government, right? Like, getting in February, we'll make sure we make that change by, July, right? And it's military finance, making a joke there. But in this way, if you do it, you're always going to get that paycheck, right? Whatever your paycheck is, you can guarantee that it's going to get there. No matter what happens to your other accounts, you're going to get your paycheck, and that's important. The other reason I do this is also because of my budgeting. It makes it easier to budget. Now, the next two counts, you can have one, you can have two, however you want to do it. I just happen to have two. I have one that's for drafts, like the home payment, the car insurance, stuff like that, stuff that comes out as a draft. And then I have one for all the credit card bills, the small stuff like Netflix, right? Or Paramount or all the little, Hulu and all the little things like that. I have one on there. Now, and I don't use this for spending anywhere. It just goes onto those 5 or 6 websites, right? Or 7 websites where I have a credit card on there for a recurring. Now, this is not Amazon. This is not where I shop with Amazon or anything like that. I just use these for bills. The advantage to having a separate bills and paychecks account is that when you do your budget every month, when you get paid and you say, okay, this much has to go into the bills until next paycheck, you put them in the bills account and whatever's left, is yours. It makes budgeting, especially when you're younger, a lot easier to do if you do it like this. And your bank should have an app where you can transfer money back and forth between any checking account you want, like that, right? No big deal to do it on a bank. And again, if the app doesn't work, it's not a good app, choose another bank, right? There's many, many out there to choose from. The last two are both actual credit card accounts that I use to spend. This one is the one I use everywhere, and I don't keep a lot of money in it. I constantly transfer money from here to here as I need it, right? If I'm going to go buy something at Walmart at $60, I transfer $60. And I can just do it real easy on the app, on my phone right there. And I'm doing it a lot. Every day I'm transferring money into that account as I need it to go buy stuff. Because of all of my accounts that are going to get stolen and defrauded, it is this one right here. I use it everywhere, right? I use it everywhere. Gas, food, snacks, groceries, whatever it happens to be, I use this account. If it's going to get compromised, it's this one. But guess what? If this gets compromised and I have to get a new credit card, okay. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing important that comes out of it. That credit card number is not attached to anything, right? I can just re-enter it in Amazon if I have to, right? The second one is an exact duplicate, right? No, not a duplicate, it has a different credit card. But this is the, well, when this one gets stolen or lost, I'm not going to pay you $20 to FedEx me a credit card. This is my backup. So if I ever lose this one, I can't find it, or I just go home. As a matter of fact, my daughter loves labels. So it literally says backup on it, and it's in a box, right? In a little safe over here. I just go there, I pull it out, and I transfer the money into that account, and I start using it until the other account's settled or taken care of, or I get the new credit card, right? So these two are both for spending, but one is just, and again, you can have a checking account with $5 in it or $10 or whatever it is. The bank is okay with that. Matter of fact, banks are okay with checking accounts with money in them because they get to use it to loan out to other people. Banks like two things. They like a lot of money in your checking and savings account, and they like a lot of stuff that you owe on your credit cards. So understand those two things, right? Um, and again, you can go crazy with this. I would not. This is exactly what I do. This is everything in my life is managed through these five accounts. You can do more than that. You can do somewhat less than that. Like if you want to combine these two or combine these two, sure, do it. But think about it this way. One, it's easier to budget this way. And number two, you're planning ahead, right? If something bad is going to happen, you now have a plan for that, right? You have a plan for that. And again, these are all slides that are in the chat that I put in there. So feel free to download those as well too. And one thing I should have said earlier, share this with whoever you want. It's fine, right? That's why I provided those two things in there. All right. Passwords. Passwords suck. They have been horrible for a very long time. There's a billion memes out there about passwords, and they're not getting any better, right? And for the longest time, especially in cybersecurity, we have oscillated back and forth between either trying to make you utterly miserable or not caring, right? Now we're back into we have multi-factor authentication, which is fantastic, but we still kind of keep you miserable. Number one thing is that people can only remember two or three passwords at a time. That's it, right? And so here's what usually happens. You have a bunch of websites with one password that you use all the time, right? And it's for like the lower risk things. Oh, a coupon site. Jason12345. There's my password, right? Or whatever it happens to be, or whatever easy password you have. Then for work or your bank, you probably have a harder one, right? And that one has to be changed. And so, for example, this month it's Jason01 or whatever. It's long with special characters and hieroglyphics and whatever, fourth dimension angles, whatever. And at the end of it, next month it'll be 02. Next time you change it, 03, 04. You may have to change more than one or whatever. And that's typically how you do it. The problem with that is all of this is that if that website is ever attacked, which they are, and they lose their password database, which they do a lot, then immediately there's a thing called credential stuffing. And so hackers have software and scripts, and they will take your password and all the other people's that they stole. They already have all these websites pre-programmed in there, and they will try to log into 1,000 different sites with your username and password within hours, right? And if it hits, if it succeeds, they have another script that will run that will do whatever it has to do. When I started at USA in 2017, we had a credential stuffing attack that affected over 4 million of our customers, right? Now, USA had always had multi-factor, so not a single account was ever compromised. But of those, 3 to 400,000 matched username and passwords. That means if we didn't have the multi-factor on their accounts, they would have successfully got into their banking account and did it because they reused that password somewhere else. Now, here's the thing. Stop trying to memorize them and don't write them down. There are things called password vaults. One of them is called LastPass. That's what I use. Choose your own, just never use a free one, but use a password vault. Now, if your entire life is Mac and Apple, just use the Apple keychain, right? If your entire life is Google, Android, and you have a Chromebook and that's the way you live, I'm sure you can get away with the Google one. I have all of these things, so I use LastPass because it works on PCs and all the other ones. The other thing I can do is every time I visit a site, if I've already had the password in there and I type in the password, it's like, oh, you reused that a couple times. Let's create a new one. And it's going to help me create a very long, complicated one. Lisa, go ahead.
So I just wanted to ask, so you just mentioned Apple Pass, the what is it called on Apple? They
Passkey.
use
That was a
Passkey,
keychain. Yeah, keychain.
keychain. That you feel that is a secure place to keep the passwords. Because I always think about that when it says, do you want to save this here? I'm like, oh, do I? I'm not sure.
It's better than trying to memorize them yourself. And this way, when you use keychain or a vault or something like that, you can have a different password per website. That's the goal. That way, again, compartmentalization, if you lose a website out there, you only lose the password to that website. So everybody here, two things on this slide that are important, right? One is a vault and two is multi-factor authentication. always enable it everywhere. And now they have a thing called passkeys. Like, for example, if you go to Amazon.com and you log in, it'll use your webcam sometimes, right? We've had them on phones forever, but always choose that. The last thing I will tell you this, if you go to a website and you're signing up for it and it says, hey, do you want to log in with Google, Facebook, Apple, whatever? Yes, you do, because that's one less password in your life. That website does not get your Google or Apple information at all. It doesn't get it. It just gets a little token that says this person's good. They don't get anything about you. Matter of fact, that's why they ask you for your name and your email address, because they don't even know it, right? And I would definitely trust those three companies more with my password and username than that, you know, t-shirt site that I'm trying to log into. You know what I mean? So yeah. All
Very
right,
good. Thank you.
oversharing. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just
Oh,
said very good. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. I won't really cover this one as much, but you got it, right? Just be careful when you share stuff. One thing that people don't realize is when you upload photos, right? If you upload them raw from the phone, they do include meta tags, such as your GPS location of where that photo was taken. So people can use those photos in a lot of cases. You need to check the website, whichever website that you're uploading them to. But I have a big Flickr account, and I noticed it was about a year ago. I was like, wait a minute, all my GPS location was on there, and a lot of the ones I do are like military photos I get from the military, and I put up there, and those had the GPS tags of like where they're like Syria, you know what I mean? I was like, oh my god, so it was a big thing. But like, always be careful with that. Also, your security answers. None of my security answers are true. I lied on all of them. Why? Because when they hacked Equifax and other companies, they already know the streets that you lived on in fifth grade. They already know your mother's maiden name. They already know your father's middle name. They already know all of those questions about you. So you're going to have to do something they don't expect and lie. So, great example. I went to AT&T. The guy's like, "Who's your favorite superhero?" And I'm like, "Batman." He's like, "You're wrong." And I was like, "Okay, we're gonna fight, right? Because that's a big deal." But like, it was like, "Oh my God!" I pulled up LastPass on my phone because it's got my notes in there. They're all secure. And I was like, "Oh, Green Lantern." Because if you knew me enough and you could probably figure it out, and again, for a guy, like 99% of us will choose Batman, right? Because the only one that we're close to. The Yeah, it would have been on there. But instead, I lied about it. I lie about all my security questions, all of them. And in my LastPass vault, I have a note for every single site that has security questions on it. And what did I say? What's your father's middle name? Yeah, it's Mozart, according to this website. Where did you meet your wife? Tinder. No, it's not. Of course, I would be murdered if you heard about that one. But like, all these different things, because no one's ever going to guess those things, right? They already know enough about you to put a picture together, right? So again, antivirus, I'm going to tell you this right now. Use the one that comes with Windows. It is the best one on the planet. Microsoft Defender is currently the number one antivirus product on the planet. CrowdStrike, I love you, but you shut the world down. You know what I mean? So I mean, hang off on that one for a while. But if your PC comes with something else like Norton, McAfee, don't feel you have to pay for antivirus. The Microsoft one is actually better. So people ask me that all the time. For Mac, I don't know a lot about Macs, but just make a choice on there, whichever's available. If the Microsoft is available, use it. But on Windows, the Microsoft Defender that comes with your computer is the number one on the planet right now. Most companies are actually like, the company I work for and other companies are switching to that away from other products on there. Um, Lastly, if you think your computer has a virus, right? And I put this link on the other one as well. Go here. Microsoft has a free download that you can download to your computer and run it, and it will find it for you. And it can clean it in most cases. If it can't clean it, we'll talk about it here in a second because you need to make a trip, right? Or wipe that thing out, take a flamethrower, what do we got to do, right? But download the Microsoft Safety Scanner. It will check everything on your computer. It can check thumb drives. It can check whatever you have out there, and it will tell you if there's a virus on there, and it will remove it for you. And if it can't, it will tell you that it can't, and you should take action. And it's 100% free. Microsoft provides it for free. They keep it completely updated every month. Okay, so let's say for a minute you think you have a virus in your computer, right? And I will tell you this, if you've ever installed illegal software on your computer, you have a virus on your computer. I'll talk about that later. The first thing is to disconnect from the internet. Let's say you go to your computer and it pops up and you got ransomware in your computer. Number one thing is disconnect it from the internet. It's going to tell you not to, right? And it's going to destroy your stuff. We're going to talk about that here in a minute on how to prevent that, but it's going to destroy your stuff. I will tell you this though, it is much better to lose your stuff than to have a hacker in Czechoslovakia or India with your stuff because they will turn around and ransom other people in your group that know about your stuff to get your stuff back. Hackers, they do single extortion, which is pay me and I'll let your computer back. Double extortion, hey, you paid me to get your computer back, but now if you want those family photos, I'm going to charge you again because you'd think you'd be able to trust them, right? No. And the third one is called a triple extortion attack, where if they find stuff about other people in your stuff, you and your girlfriend's photos or whatever from years ago, they will go and ransom her and people she knows to do it. They have no compunction or honor or integrity about all of that. So trust me, if you get a virus in your computer, it's always better just wipe it out. Wipe it out. Take the loss. But if you listen to me here in a few minutes, you won't lose anything. If you do this, if you know what you're doing, follow these directions that are on the screen. If you don't, go to the Geek Squad or whatever it happens to be, right? It is okay. They know what to do. They're practiced on it, and they get tons of people with malware and viruses on their computers every single day. And it's worth it. I'm not endorsing Best Buy. I'm not doing it. It's just the one that we all know about. If you're an Apple user, take it to the Genius Bar, right? Make an appointment, go in there and get it done. Always trust them. Now, again, if you know what you're doing, then you're going to want to reload your computer. And you're going to reload your computer. One of the things you're going to reload it for is choose the cloud option. That way it wipes everything else out on your computer. But again, if you have any doubts, if your computer has a warranty from Dell or HP or whatever, call them and let them take care of it for you at that point in time. And again, if you have other people in your family who think they may have a virus on their computer, get them to run the safety scanner. And if they do, then look at maybe other options, right? Taking it to Geek Squad, double checking it, stuff like that. It's not much. It's not much, a couple bucks or whatever. Wi-Fi security. The one thing I want to point out here is that when you're using Wi-Fi, right? If you take a laptop and you go to Starbucks and you're doing your homework at Starbucks, understand that you can be hacked just from being there. The NSA a couple years ago put out a notice that said Wi-Fi is the most unsecure thing in America. It's the number one vector for most people in America to lose their stuff. So here's what happens. You're going to go to Starbucks. You're going to look at your computer. It's going to say Starbucks. I'm like, okay, I'm going to click on Starbucks. I'm going to fill out the little website. It's going to connect me. But I have the internet. What you don't realize is that you're connected to a hacker's backpack right across the room or in their car. It's called an evil twin. And they basically, Wi-Fi is stupid. Whatever is strongest, your computer goes, that's Starbucks. So if they name theirs the same thing as a Starbucks, but theirs is like pumping out a lot of radiation, your computer will pick theirs as the thing, and it will not know the difference between the two. So if you're going to use these things, then buy a VPN, buy a commercial VPN. And buy a reputable one. Nord or something like that that's out there, right? It's going to cost you like $9 a month or something. And if you do this, it's very much worth it. Because what's going to happen in that situation, if you have an evil twin, you're going to think you're connecting to a website that's secure. You're not. You're going to get the security thing for that person's backpack. And then they're going to connect to the website for you. We do it in companies all the time. It's called a proxy. We look at all your stuff inside of a company. But you think you're connected to eBay, but you're not. You're connected to us, and we are connected to eBay. And in between that little gate there, we're looking at all your information. And a hacker can do that too. If you have a VPN, it thwarts that. If you go to Starbucks, you fire up your VPN, and the internet suddenly doesn't work, that's because the hacker's blocking VPN. Pull out your phone, use the hotspot, or just go home and do the homework there until it's done. I really don't have to explain this, but the one thing I do want to cover on here for all of you, again, this is in the slides, but third-party apps. If you go into your computer and you go to apps, settings, apps, and you look at the stuff that's installed there, do that every once in a while and give the Viking funeral to anything you don't need or know about anymore. Now, don't remove a lot of like the Dell stuff that's on there. You're going to be pretty safe, those kind of manufacturer stuff. But you have probably installed stuff over the years or stuff, if you've had it on your computer that's still installed, that you don't need anymore. And the reason for that is you can keep your computer up to date all you want. But if you have a single application on your computer that is not up to date, because again, it doesn't get Windows updates, right? Maybe it's just a one-off thing, but it has a vulnerability on it. That is a way to get inside your computer, no matter how many updates you apply from Microsoft or for Apple. So every once in a while, go in there, look at the third-party apps and get rid of them if you don't need them. If you needed it for like, okay, I need to join some MP3s, I'm going to try this app. Okay, it doesn't work. I'm going to get it. Don't leave it on your computer. Uninstall it all the time. That goes for games too. If you don't need a game, if you're not playing a game, it's kind of cool to load your whole Steam library. It's not necessary. That's just more stuff in your computer that can add vectors, right? For viruses and malware on there. Browser extensions, you would not believe over the years how many of these are malware. Um, Don't put a lot of browser extensions on there because you think they're cooler to do it. Check them out, research it before you add them. Commercial ones are going to be safe, like LinkedIn or LastPass or some of those. Those are safe, right? Those are company ones. They're verified. That's on there. But there may be other ones out there that you're like, ooh, I need this one. It's going to save my web page, or this will allow me to download images, or this one will allow me to do this, right? There has been browser extensions with 1 million downloads that ended up being spyware. Lisa, go ahead.
So just a question, like you said, we could have had millions of these browser extensions, not knowing that they are good or bad to use previously. What's an easy way to identify what extensions you have on your computer?
Depends on the browser, like the Edge, or you'll go up there and you'll click. There's a way to see them, right? And like on Edge, for example, it looks like a puzzle piece, and on Chrome,
Okay,
you click the dot and say extensions or whatever, and it'll
perfect.
show you the ones that are installed in your computer, and just get rid of them if you don't need them. I think I have
Great, thank you.
I have like three. Yeah. File sharing, and again, I'm going to travel through some of these pretty quick, but if you have OneDrive and stuff like that, you can share files directly from your computer. If someone out there asks you, "Hey, I need your social security card, I need your birth certificate," then ask them, "Where do I upload it securely?" Right? Don't send it. If you are going to send it over email, then you zip it, put a password on it, and then send the password separately. Right? Don't put the password in the email with a zip file, or it totally deletes the purpose. But again, if it's a company asking you for information, they should have a secure upload portal. Or if you have OneDrive, we'll talk about here in a minute, you can just share it right from your computer and give them a link and they can download it. Social engineering, I know you guys have heard a lot about this, but the key thing is right here, emotional hooks. Hey, by the way, you get a call from somebody. My favorite is like when they call me. And as a cyber person, I love to keep them on the phone. That's like my joy in life, is to see how long I can keep them going. Like, they'll call you like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm from the IRS. You need to answer me now. You do this. Oh my God, really? Oh, like, oh my, no, I don't want to go to jail. And like, you just have some fun with it or whatever. But like and sometimes you're like, oh, that's kind of silly. I would never fall for that. But there are people who do. And there may be something that you will. Mine was a schnauzer group. Okay. Like, again, it's going to happen. The key thing is never be upset about it. The police aren't calling you. You know that. And if you get calls from your family, hey, by the way, I got a call from John. He said he was in jail. Well, guess what? He'll be fine till tomorrow. Call the jail back, see if he's there, and then deal with it, right? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to, because there's so many of them. And again, they pull heartstrings. Oh, my nephew's in jail. She's being treated badly. I need to give him the money right now, right? That's never ever going to be a thing. It's never ever going to be a thing, right? And so again, it's not just for you, but remember other people in your family you need to tell about this. Be the person they call. Hey, by the way, Joni's in jail. Like, again? No, no, but seriously, like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine, right? It'll be fine. Email examples. This, I've had some great ones. I've also had spear phishing against me personally, where they impersonated the company that sold my house to me. They literally hacked them and used their email to try to get to me. That was kind of crazy. I was like, sorry. Like, it's on you guys and your bad security though. You can hire me. But if you look here, like for example, this one, I hovered over it. Look at the email, link.edgepilot.com, blah, blah, blah. And if you look here, it keeps going on to a .ru. So even at the beginning of it, it looks like, oh, edgepilot.com. But if you keep looking at the whole URL stack, you get down here to where it's .ru. It's a Russian hacking website, right? It looks legitimate. And again, they'll try to hide it all the time. One thing too, just trust your email a lot of times. If it says it's a virus or it sends it to spam, think about it, right? Another thing too is if you get an email from a bank or somebody, just go in your browser and search for the bank or use the website. You don't click the links in there. Just go there and do that. Smishing, of course, is very popular. We're getting tons of these. I do appreciate the new iPhone update. I do hate the graphics, but I love the fact that it now has a folder for people you don't know. Like, all my spam just rolls in there, like the political spam that you get and stuff like that. You're never going to have anybody put you in jail or do anything or suspend you. The government does not operate this way, right? A matter of fact, in most states, all states, the law says they have to send you a registered letter, right? You're gonna get jury duty is not gonna come from a text message, right? You're gonna get a letter. Again, you're always gonna get them. My favorite's the delivery scams, the post office. We don't know your address, but you know my phone number. you know, again, oh, you got one today? Yeah, I'll get tons of them. Yeah. Oh, Jim put some stuff in there too. I'm sorry, Jim. I just saw yours. Yeah, malware bites. Yeah, good. Advanced scams, they're going to happen. They're going to get better at it. The voices are going to become easier and more clearer. The voices are going to become more convincing. The answer is, okay, well, like, oh, I lost my phone. I'm calling you. I need $20 or I need $100, blah, 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 or whatever. No, let me, oh, they're like, okay, hold on. Hold 1 second. Dial the number to your friend and go, oh, look, they just picked up. So, again, always think about it. If it's an emergency, it's not going to happen the way it's going to happen. Now, videos, other stuff as well, especially at work, always verify. Trust but verify. That's just the way in the future it's going to have to be, right? There was an HR person who got called from the CEO asking him to send him stuff, and the entire thing was done with fake AI voice, right? The whole thing was fake AI voice. And again, if you're not prepared for it, you're going to fall for these things. But the key thing is just your level of trust has to decrease with things on the internet, right? Things on phishing, things on email. And again, always call back. And of course, we all know about caller spoofing, right? You get tons of them all the time. And they're coming from like Shanghai or something like that. Risky habits to avoid. The one thing I want to talk to you here about real quick is illegal pirated software. It is never clean. Never, never. Over 70% of Minecraft mods are actually malware, right? And in most cases, you'll never know because when you put it on your computer and you say, hey, can I be an administrator? Will I do this? You betcha. It's just going to make sure it never tells you again. It's going to tell your computer to ignore me because I'm installing myself on there. And you won't find it until you run that Microsoft safety scanner. There is no situation where an illegal game or a piece of software is ever going to be economical for you because of this. No one commits a felony out there because they just want to give away Adobe Acrobat. Not ever going to happen. Maybe 20 years ago when it was cool to be a hacker, right? You got your name on there, you had the cool little key gens and stuff, but not today. Not today. There was one of the most popular game downloads in the past couple of years was Grand Theft Auto 4. And in it had Bitcoining software that while you were playing the game would run Bitcoining mining software on your video card. So, and again, it's wasting your video card for you because it's burning that thing up. But they don't care because they're making money from all these people who think they got to play, Grand Theft Auto 4 for free, right? And in most cases, people who download illegal software don't even need this stuff. They just want to download it because it's cool, right? They can go there and they can do it. Oh, I found a way to download it. You just would not believe how many movies and other stuff out there that looks like them that are actually malware. And in most cases, it'll actually run. Like the Adobe clones, they'll all work, right? But they're all malware behind the scenes. They're keyloggers looking for every key that you put in your computer, right? Um, and never ignore the warnings on your computer. Don't. It's always better to just stop, take a break, come back at it, right? Then do it. If you start getting them on there, trust your browser. The browser says, "Hey, this website's not legit." It's probably not going to be legit. Okay, so I know we got started a little bit late. Are you guys okay if we do the Kahoot? It may take 10 minutes and go past the time. Okay. All right. So let me put the Kahoot on the screen.
You're asking the most competitive person in the world if I'm okay with spending a few minutes
Yeah.
doing a Kahoot. Yes, I am.
So, yeah. All right. Everybody knows your challenge now. Lisa's the one to take there. So anyway, this is a Kahoot. You can play on your phone. You can play on the computer. I'll put the link here in the chat, and let me share the screen because you can't see it yet. That would probably help. Where did it? Oh, here we go. Okay, sorry. All right, so here is the pin. I'll put this in the chat if you guys want to click on it, or you can use your phone and the QR code, whichever. It'll ask you to choose a name. At the end, whoever the winners are, you got to tell me what your name is, right? The top two. So the top two are going to get a cool little Lego trophy. So, if you're not watching this live, I'm so sorry because this thing is freaking awesome. Okay. So, hand put together by me, and you're going to get a book. So, one of my books. All right. I didn't know Defender was for Mac too. Oh, that's cool. My daughter's school made them all go to Chromebooks, their high school. So they don't use their Macs anymore. So they don't even see their computers. Now they just complain they can't instant message on it. So in Texas, I don't know if it's the same way for you guys. What do you mean an error occurred? Hold on, sorry. I may have to reload this. Sorry, we're gonna have to reload it, it looks like. Okay, here we go. Oh, I know what it's trying to do. It's trying to pull the video. Don't worry about that. Okay, use the new link. I'm sorry, the new QR code. Is it letting you guys join?
Now that I wasn't putting the pin in, so let me give it another try.
Okay, yeah, it came up for me. Okay.
It says I'm in.
Okay, good. I don't see anybody on here though. Oh, there we go. Why is it not showing? Oh, because I put a YouTube video as a background for some reason. Okay. Is anybody not in right now? Anybody want me to wait? You guys all good?
Mine says I'm in and it's just waiting.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, here we go. Lewis, you're okay? Marlene, you're okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in.
Jim, if you want to join, that's fine. If not, no worries. Okay, here we go. So get your competitive on. Each one question has 20 seconds. It'll read the question first, 20 seconds for the answer. The faster you answer, the more points you get. Okay, unless you get wrong, then you get 0. All right, here we go. Oh, why do you go full screen on me? Can you guys still see it? Okay,
Yes.
good. Protecting privacy in social media starts with your profile photo. What's the safest style to choose? Right. So your house keys, by the way, can be copied from a photo. They can. Yes,
Oh.
absolutely. They can copy them from a photo. It's been done. Driver's license, of course, we all know that's bad, and passports, yeah, that would be even worse. So, all right, good job. If you have a llama, a llama. I got that from Monty Python. So, all right, terrific bat, marvelous egret, Rocky Flamingo. I feel like somewhere at the Pentagon, they're like, you know what? We're going to get all of our names from this from now on. Operation Marvelous Egret. You're going to see that someday. They're going to use Kahoot names. A financial firewall limits damage. Which setup best contains fraud if one account gets compromised? I'm great, man. Yeah. So separate spend bills and income accounts. Good. Good, good, good. Vibes and Venmo. I laugh at my own jokes. I'm bad. All right. Good job. Okay. Remember, it's still up for grabs till we get to the end. You're on a cafe Wi-Fi labeled totally not hackers. For banking or taxes, what's the safest approach? Yeah, hacker, no.
I'm
Swiper, no.
picturing a very dramatic scene where someone stands up and yells, "No, hacker!"
Swiper, no swipey.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking it too. Who
All
has
right.
kids here?
VPN plus avoid banking if possible. Absolutely. And do it on your phone, right? And a lot of times, too, understand most of the time you don't need Wi-Fi anymore. Like 10 years ago, everybody had to have Wi-Fi. Now, unless you're like in a doctor's office, which is always made of like wireless kryptonite, you know what I mean? You're pretty much okay most of the time, right? There's no limits on your on your internet anymore on the phone. So I only do it if I just can't get a signal. That's it. All right, good. Your friends visit with mysterious phones and laptops. Why enable a separate guest Wi-Fi network at home? And most routers will allow this now. Most routers will allow this out of the box. Right. Yeah, because if you have a computer and stuff on the same network, and anymore, remember too, Apple for years, right? You just hold 2 phones together. Like I still remember like 5 years ago, I'm like, why is there all these phones on my network? I had no idea Apple even made that. I had like none. I was like, and my daughter's like, Dad, you just hold them together. I'm like, oh my God, my 9-year-old beated me. So like, guess network it is. All right. Remember, you still catch up. Those are very close. These are all very close, by the way. Usually, like if you get into the 5,000, 6,000 apart, it's hard, but you're all very close. One question could do it. Browser extensions can be tiny gremlins. What's the wise install strategy that shrinks the attack surface? I wonder if this writer, James Chapman, ever stopped getting made fun of for that article. Like, a little wrong, James. Install a few well-reviewed needed ones. Yeah, you don't need a lot of them. It used to be cool to have like 27 of them. Oh, look, this one made it pink or whatever, right? But now it's, And honestly, most of us don't even change the browser now, or it's like it's a tool. Yeah. All right, good. Oh wow, still close. All right. Still one third of the way. So friends get an email from you selling crypto stocks. What's your next step to lock things back down? Magic 8 ball, am I stupid? Possible spoof, change the password, and enable multi-factor authentication. Always enable multi-factor authentication. Just always, always, always. Yep. Here we go. Next. Okay. Halfway. AI voice clones can mimic loved ones for cash. How do you check the story before sending money? Use safe words. If you have safe words in your family, you can use them, right? Call back via a known number, right? Also, sometimes you can just fake the safe words. Oh, really? What's my safe word? If they start saying things, you're like, okay, I never set up a safe word with that person, so obviously it's fake, right? Using mind games against them. Ha. Yeah. All right, good, 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 good. All right, still staying close. Worried about new accounts opened in your name? Which true statement nails how credit freezes work? Oh, free and doesn't hurt your score. It does not block your cards. Does not block the cards. Your cards can still be used. You just can't get new ones. Yeah. Oh no.
Someone's
Like,
been
yeah,
dethroned.
someone moved up. All right. Yeah, just one. And still we got like 6 or 7 more. So careful, 6 more at least. Managing over 80 passwords without losing your mind requires a method. Which plan actually wins long term? In my vault, I have 300 and some passwords. Like over the years, once you start realizing, you're like, oh my God. Right. Unique vault generated for each site. Now, the vault password that you use, the one that you log into your vault, that's the one you need to remember. And you can use a passphrase. So, for example, my vault password is a sentence. It's something like, I love my dog. Her name is Cora, 99 or whatever. Like something that I can remember. And so when I log into my vault, I type in my sentence with the number at the end and it logs me in. The great thing about vaults also, that password that you're using is the encryption key. So even the people at LastPass don't know your stuff. They can't get into your stuff. It's impossible. The other thing that you can do is you can also set up a next of kin. So mine has a next of kin. So if my wife tries to get into my vault and I don't refuse it within 24 hours, she gets everything in my vault. So if something horrible happens, she can still go in there and get all the stuff that we have in our vault, right? So depressing, but planning, right? So plan ahead. Okay, AI scams, AI makes scams faster and voices faker. What's the safest default mindset to adopt? Can cats eat pancakes? Assume deep fakes verify via trusted channels. Just open your phone, call them right there on your phone, right? Also, the great thing about now too is the phone will record your conversation. Apple has it built in. When you open a phone call, there's a button up there. You click it, it'll record the call. And of course, depending on the state you're in, Texas is a one-party state. I don't know about your states, but you can record the call. Now it will tell the other person, but like again, if it's legit, you're really calling me from jail. You're not going to mind because it's recorded anyway. So anyway, scammers will hang up though when you turn that on a lot of times. A free USB appears on the sidewalk outside. Curiosity tingles. What's the safe non-goblin brain choice? Right. Don't plug it in. Throw it away. Actually, don't throw it away. If you're on campus or you're at work, always take it to your IT department. Don't throw it away. USAA, we had a one of our customer service reps. She got a box at her house with a T-shirt, a gift card, all kinds of stuff in it, and a thumb drive. And it said, "Please plug this into your work computer and take the survey, and we'll give you the gift card code." Right? And it was a Russian nation state attack. It was actually a Russian who had arranged that. They had found her address, her and a couple other people, and she was the first one to bring it in, and we were able to find it. And the Secret Service who took possession of it, it was Russia. Yeah. So it's crazy, but always, and we wouldn't have known unless she would have turned it in, right? Okay, good, 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 good. Getting down to the end, four more. A major breach includes your email and login credentials before posting online. What's the smartest first move? Sigh, then change passwords and enable MFA. Always, right? And again, when using Evolve, the password, you just go in there, like click change password. It'll do it all for you. It knows websites. Like it'll generate for all of my passwords are like 17 characters long. I do it mostly to annoy my adult children who share my Netflix with me still. But because every time I change it, they're like, "What's the password?" I'm like, "Oh, here you go. Good luck with that." Yeah, I'm gonna buy them their own Netflix. That's the way I have to do it. Okay, all right. We had one switch. All right, three more. Passkeys are the new login in plain English. Which description best matches how they protect you? Mm. Fish resistant logins. A
Mm.
passkey is like Face ID for the phone, right? You don't type in the password, you don't type in the PIN. The other advantage about a passkey and why you should want to use it on your computer is if you have a keylogger on your computer, you're not typing in the password on your computer, right? A passkey eliminates all of that. You don't you can't intercept it as you do it. All right. Ooh, it's getting down to
Mm.
the wire. This is exciting. It's like NASCAR in the last lap. All right, multi-factor authentication adds a second door. Which second factor shuts out attackers most reliably? It is authenticator app codes. Now, SMS is good, and most companies will use it because that's what most people can use. But your phone, your SIM can be cloned. Colin Powell, he was, for example, Colin Powell had his famously had his phone cloned by a person who pretended to be a Verizon employee. They cloned his SIM card, went to his AOL, reset his password. They sent him the text message. They reset his AOL account and stole all of his email. So it can happen to anybody. But yeah, so text messages are great if that's the only option you have. But and most time it's going to be fine. But authenticator app codes are the new big thing now. Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, they'll just build right in there. Okay. Next, the last one. The flashlight app wants your contacts and mic. Which permission strategy keeps your life less leaky? Share contacts. Right. Deny what it doesn't need. And that's for websites that you go to, other things like that. For example, if it pops up and says, would you like to like deny all? If I can't use your website without denying all, I don't want to use your website. So,
So
all
for the
right, here we go.
cookies, is that for cookies too? Like deny all cookies?
That's what I do. I do. I deny them all. If it gives me an option, I just click deny all out of habit. Yeah. Matter of fact, the problem with that is that's under the GDPR, and mostly websites that are, worldwide have to use them. The problem is that they have defaulted to so many people now will hit accept all so fast, they don't even think about it, right? It's actually made the problem worse when it comes to it because people just out of habit will select all, select all, select all. Just be the other one, be the deny all person, right?
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
That's a behavior I will change.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work without them, I don't need it, right? So, all right. So who was terrific bat?
That was me.
Okay, who was marvelous egret?
That was me.
Okay, and Marlena, you were Rocky Flamingo. All right, so
Yep.
I actually have trophies for all three of you, so it's fine. So I put my
I can
email in
gift
the chat.
mine. I will gift mine since there was a two limit, and I don't know if it's legal that I have actually was part of it. So I'm going to bow out. just
Oh,
because I think probably as the host, I probably
okay.
shouldn't have participated so
All right, well, Luis,
aggressively.
Marlena, you guys get the trophies and a book. So I put my email in the chat. If you guys want to send me an address, it doesn't have to be your personal address, wherever you want me to send it to. I'll ship those out in the next week and you should get them. Send me a picture when you get them. So it's kind of cool to do it. And then, yeah, and so that's all I got. Do you guys have any other questions for me? Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for
That
coming and I
was
appreciate it.
it was really helpful because some of the like authentication